Hi. Okay, well, this is just a story about me starting an online e-commerce site in South Africa. It's not a story about starting the biggest e-commerce site in South Africa. We haven't done that yet. It's a story about... Actually, let me get my clicker out. It's a story about runway sales starting in our spare bedroom on a shoestring budget. It is possible, and it's actually a lot of fun. My hope is that it will inspire a few people here today to go off and start something of their own. The two areas that I think will be of most value are the founding process and the importance for focus. And once again, for a few crazy people here today who are thinking about starting something cool and disruptive, I really hope that it will help you to chase that dream, take on guys with a bigger budget, and save a bit of money on school fees along the way. So, I'm actually very lucky to get to talk about something I'm so passionate about, online entrepreneurship. You see, entrepreneurship has the ability to do amazing things for this country. And online entrepreneurship, especially so, because it removes so many of the barriers that we previously had. I mean, you can actually do an MIT qualification from a shack in Khayelitsha nowadays if you've got an internet connection. I mean, how amazing is that you've been able to kind of spread that knowledge throughout the world? There are awesome things that can come from a vibrant startup community. You know, one that records victories, celebrates failures. And so, once again, I'm hoping that a few of you will be sitting here in 10 minutes thinking, you know, that sounds a little bit more doable. And for the rest of you, I just hope you find our story of unrealistic optimism amusing. So how does my story start? Basically, Elle and I were in Australia. I was working with a company called OzSale, has a similar concept. We missed South Africa incredibly, and so we decided not to extend the contract and come back to start something here. It hit us very quickly that the concept alone was only going to take us 1% of the way. In fact, Naspers had a similar model to what we had, and been doing it for about 3 years and was busy pivoting away from it at the time. So what makes up the rest? Execution. Execution is key. The first step in executing correctly is understanding your founding team. Between the two founders, we knew that we had retail, operations, online, and sales covered, but we lacked a bit of experience. We knew what we didn't know. We thought about getting an angel investor on board, but we were worried about giving too much away from our multi-million rand company. Eventually, we decided to get one on board just because it would help us to focus and commit to the project. And if we took it in monthly installments, the cash, then we would all be able to jump ship before we burned too much if necessary. The deal with Michael Lehman took us less than 48 hours from pitch to cash. We got very lucky. The money actually wasn't the important part, though. What we needed was the experience, because there are certain things that are taught only by being through the startup process before. The other big question I had was, how do I quit my job? In April, it became very apparent that in order to focus on runway sale, I was going to need to leave clicks to customers. I enjoyed it there. It was my first job out of varsity, and I'd been given a lot of opportunities. I used to walk to my CEO's office in the morning, and along the way, I would convince myself why it wasn't necessary and rather veer off to the bathroom instead. After about a week or so, I did a worst-case scenario plan. Basically, what this is looking at what is the worst that can happen if everything fails. For me, it was twofold. One, I was worried about giving up a promising career, and secondly, I was worried about surviving without that monthly paycheck coming through. So my worst-case scenario looked something like this. If we did fail, we would probably fail quite quickly, and so I could get back into the online industry without too much downtime. On the cash side of things, absolute worst-case scenario, I could move back in with my family. And while my lifestyle would take a serious hit in the process, you know, isn't that kind of thing worth it for the chance to actually chase a dream? Eventually, I did actually get the guts to go and resign. My CEO was very understanding and actually incredibly supportive, but once again, I got very lucky. The next thing you want to do is surround yourself with mentors and advisors. SA has tons of people willing to give you advice if you join their program, or even if you just offer to take them for lunch, and often they will even pay for the lunch. You know, most are really cool, and some are very critical. Both of those groups are equally important. You can't go to them and expect them to give you a roadmap to success. You need to go with questions. You need to engage with them. You need to tell them when you disagree. And you cannot get angry when they play devil's advocate. Those are the best moments because you need to learn to defend what you're doing. The third point is the cash required that goes into starting a startup. So what I've actually decided to do quickly, and this is a chance for you guys all to gauge a little bit and win the bag that I just brought out here. It's a polo handbag from one of our recent events. And what I've decided to do is if somebody in the audience can guess how much it actually cost us to get to launch phase with our e-commerce site and everything included, they can have the bag, just for throwing out a number. So yeah, open it up to the audience. Nord Rand. That was brave. A little bit more than that. Who else? 50. 50 Rand. 50,000. Oh, got it on the second guess. 50,000 Rand, exactly right. Chat afterwards and get the bag. Well done. It will look great. It will look great. Your girlfriend will love it. That's what they all say. That's what they all say. You see, the truth is that if all it took to start a successful company was to hire 200 employees, everybody who could afford to would do it. They're actually, when we started, we were the customer service team, we were the sales team, the accounting, the graphic designers. My family used to come after hours to help us pack orders, and we paid them with pizza. In fact, there is no better industry that's better suited to starting on a shoestring budget. And there are serious advantages to being small. You get to foster a company with an awesome vibe where people feel like they're part of something special. You get to be incredibly flexible, and the most important thing is that you get to focus, or are forced to focus. And so, prior to our first event launching, we had a single focus. Every time we found ourselves talking about the font on our business cards or our logo, we came back to the key question, which was, is this going to help us launch? Everything was geared to that 14th of May 2012 launch. We actually managed to launch on time. Unfortunately, we launched at 8 o'clock in the morning. We expected orders to come rolling in, so we woke up nice and early. At about 20 past 8, there still weren't any orders. So we thought, people probably need a bit of time to actually, pick their size and so on. At about 10 o'clock, we started testing because we knew something was obviously wrong with the site. At 12 o'clock, we realized there was nothing wrong with the site. At 3 o'clock, I started to wonder if my old job at Clicks to Customers had been filled yet. And a lady called Cindy put something in checkout. Eagerly awaited for her to pay. About half an hour later, Cindy still hadn't paid. So we got on the phone to her and said, what's going on? She told us that she got stuck with 3D Secure and had given up. By the way, if anybody's thinking about starting an e-commerce site, 3D Secure is a waste of time. And I'll go into that in a detail if you ever want me to. But we basically said, look, there's options to pay via EFT. We gave her our banking details. She said she'll pay that afternoon. We woke up the next morning, still no money. Phoned Cindy back up and said, have you got the right details? What's going on? So that was Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, eventually Cindy stopped taking our calls. And we finished that week without a single sale, which was incredibly disappointing. But out of that came, once again, focus. We kind of put our head down and said, we need more members and better events. And even though we've come a very long way since that first week, what we have taken with us is that need to focus. And for us, I can honestly say there is nothing more important than focus. And I know this has been repeated by a few of the speakers here today. But it really is what allows you to take on people with much bigger budgets than yourselves. And so I know Bob's kind of beat me to the slide already a bit earlier, but we've got a strict 80-20 rule in the company. And just to repeat what he said, 80% of your results is going to come from where you spend 20% of your time. So focus on that 20% and focus hard on that 20%. And so to go back to the beginning, to go back to kind of the reason I'm here, I really am hoping that for a couple of you sitting here that are thinking about starting something new and exciting, go and do it. And my advice is simple. Surround yourself with great people and maintain focus. And most importantly, have fun, and you're chasing a dream. So thank you very much.